The International Builder Show 2023. This is the big show, and I got all the people here to tell you what is new and cool. We got Breakthrough Academy, we got Will King, we got Jay Bruton, Wade Paquin, Brian Euler, Eric Ani. Yes, he actually has a name, not just Mechanical Hub. Steve Basic, and I got 5 more contributors on planes right now coming to the big show. Today's build show, IBS, not the Irritable Bowel Show. Let's get going. The plan is this morning in the next 5 minutes. Thanks to our friends from Builder Trend for hosting, but here's to better built buildings in 2023. Cheers, everybody. Ooh, what is this?
Man, on-site solutions carpenter trailer. I got a tour of it earlier. We should really walk around. Look at this. So
This is cool, Will.
self-contained mobile workstation is kind of the best way I see it, but it's fully customizable. These guys have been doing this for like 30 years, putting it together. It's not like they were doing like in-house carpentry on job sites.
I mean, it looks like a giant mobile workshop.
Yep. So it's all self-contained. They've taken all these whatever tools you need, they can integrate it on adapters.
Okay.
Has owns like a built-in dust collection system, all these hoses. So you can put it in somebody's garage if you need to on a remodel or renovation, and all
awesome.
the dust is contained. So
That's neat.
it really is.
Now, what do you do though at the end of the workday? Because your tools are out overnight. I'm worried that they're going to be stolen.
So in the back, you've got these huge slide-out trays, which remind me of my fire truck that I used to drive, but the high weight capacity is 10 minutes. They tell you it's a 10-minute breakdown, 10-minute setup.
So slide it out,
Yep.
drop your,
Yeah.
your
These
Craig
guys are going to slide out.
pocket drilling machine on there,
Yeah.
and then slide it back in.
Because these are just sitting on the adapters, so you can literally just pick it up,
Okay.
throw it on the trailer.
And is this the dust collection central? I guess, huh?
He said it's built in, so every tool has the dust collection built in, and then it goes
Wow.
underneath the trailer. So
That's pretty neat.
I saw some buckets on the front. It looks like you just all the sawdust goes into the like 5-gallon buckets, and then you just empty it into the desk.
That's pretty
So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Now you guys both do on-site carpentry. You have on-site crews. You guys have carpentry in-house. Would you use something like this, Brent?
You know, I don't know if it would make sense like when we're doing our rough framing with the job. So much of it you want your cut station where you're actually going to be building.
Right.
I think more like our finished carpenter could just pull this into our garage where it's nice and storage.
Yep.
You know, it's nice and it's dry, good weather,
Compact.
but they know exactly where everything is. And you don't just have stuff scattered all over the place.
Yeah, that
It's just super efficient. You know exactly where it is.
That's very nice.
I think our guys doing siding could benefit too. So fiber cement siding, we're obviously trying to get rid of the dust. So they've taken care of that problem. And on a big job site, you can move it around every day depending on where you're working. That'd be awesome. The way, like this table saw and their miter saw is all on the same plane. So if you're running long boards, you can use both platforms and have 16-foot material. So
And it looks to me like it's
really
all wired up, so
really
when you
neat.
plug it into your job site power pole,
Yep.
you got power at the whole trailer.
And if you don't, there's I think 2 Honda generators on the front, so that you got plenty of power to run it. So even has a ladder rack on top. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh, yeah.
They literally thought of everything.
That's pretty impressive. So it's
It
called
is.
on-site building solutions.
Yep.
We'll try and find a link to put them in the description. Very cool, guys.
It
Thanks
is.
for the tour, boys.
So Matt, check out this new tool, man. This is cool.
This is pretty cool. The door stud.
Yep.
So you've got the kind of standard version, right?
Yep.
What size doors is this guy?
Like 1 3/8, 1 3/4.
Okay, so
Yep.
kind of
Yep.
normal residential
normal
doors. They also
residential
have the big boy if you're doing commercial doors. I think this goes up to 2 1/4, let's say.
Yep.
But Will, give me the 411. How's this work? Have you used these before on the job
Yeah,
site? I know
so-
you've got some carpenters that work
So
for you.
we have them on our trim crew trailer. Like I said, we self-perform our trim carpenter at my company. I'm always looking for cool products to take care of them, right? And when I saw the door stud come about, it's fascinating because if you're ever setting our heavy doors, like an 8-foot door, a solid core, you're talking what, 200 pounds, something
Yeah,
like that?
I mean, you're
you
wrestling
can't wrestle
that
that into an opening.
It's a heavy door.
Yeah, so I mean, it's incredible. So you can basically slide the door slab into the channel of these things, right? And so now we have a complete rollable door,
Yep.
right? So these guys can roll it across the living room, roll
And
it
then
across
they're
the
adjusting
kitchen.
for level here, so it's
Right.
perfectly level.
So they
and
can-
that also is going to adjust even if your floor was a little out of level, right?
Yep.
That's kind of cool.
And you can lock them. So then
Yep.
if you want it to be still, once you get it in position.
And then you
but-
can just roll it right into the opening,
Yep,
right?
they can slide in. And then when you start adjusting it into the opening, trying to get it plumb, you
can
oh,
make all those
Yeah, you got
adjustments.
4 different adjustments up and down, and they're saving their back. You know, it's amazing just how many doors get replaced every year, and to being able to not lift 200 pounds over and over again. It's just a really cool product. We thought it'd be
pretty
nice
awesome.
for our guys to have them, so kudos to them, man. They did a great job on it. So,
Doorstud.com. They run just a little under $300 for the kind of normal set, just shy of $400 for the bigger, heavier commercial set. If you're watching this later, you can go to doorstud.com. All right, Brian, you are in the land of crawl spaces up there in the Pacific Northwest. And I got to tell you, when I worked up in Portland, Oregon, there was some nasty crawl spaces out there that were just really, really gross. Talk to me about Stego and some of their crawl space options.
So a lot of times people just use a 6 mil black poly, which might classify as a vapor barrier or a class 1 vapor retarder, but man, it's just not very strong. So this stuff here that we're looking at, looks like they've got a 15 mil and a 10 mil. Probably doesn't sound like much, but if you think in terms of percentages, go from a 6 to a 10 to a 15, then if you've got anybody working underneath there, it's just not going to tear up so easy. Because the fact is, there still might be some rocks left in there, what have you. You don't want this stuff to tear.
Now, I've used this on a bunch of crawl spaces, and you know, a tough material is awesome, but when it comes to crawl spaces, you also need to make sure that all the terminations, that piers that are in the way, all those things are actually going to get sealed from a vapor perspective. And this is the difference maker for me. They make some awesome tapes. They got one stuck on here that just sticks tenaciously to this, but also sticks awesome to concrete. And that, for me, won it over. I've done a bunch of crawl spaces with this.
They've got another product. It's called tack tape. It's double-sided.
Yeah.
So you can put that against the concrete and then put this against it. It's fantastic. And Matt and I think so much about moisture, but in Eastern Washington, radon is a big thing.
Oh, okay,
and throughout the
there you go.
United States.
Yeah.
So if you're in a high radon area, you want to make sure even more so that you've got everything sealed up, and then you mitigate that radon in some other fashion.
Yeah, now Stego makes all kinds of other products as well that are similar but different colored. You're going to see in their catalog they've got yellow, they've got green, which is their Stego home. These are all really bomber, very durable. They're going to keep that moisture from mitigating up. But like I said earlier, it's all those accessories that really make the difference. So don't be fooled by some of the competitors out there that have kind of Me Too products. Stego is the best out there.
I'll add just one other thing. We're going to be doing kind of an interesting garage where we're excavating out underneath, and it'll be living space underneath. So people will be driving in, and we want to make sure that no water starts getting in through that into the living space. So we're going to end up using Stego for that too.
It's good stuff, Brian. StegoIndustries.com to learn more.
Hey, Will King here. We're at the International Builder Show, and we're at the Aquor booth. Now, Aquor has been a good friend of ours for a long time, and you probably know them for their really sleek, modern-looking hose bibs. We've been using them on a lot of our builds. I've got one here behind me, and what's so neat about them is that it just takes the normal idea of a hose bib, and it puts it in a nice, sleek finish on the house. It doesn't stand out and just scream hose bib when you look at it. Now, this one has a stainless steel cover. You've probably seen this one on other videos, but what's neat though is that the valve is actually back inside the wall. It's a frost-proof hydrant, and the way this cover actually goes behind the Aquor, when you unhook your adapter, this guy, all the water is going to drain back out. So this adapter is going to stay on your hoses, and it's a quarter turn to hook them up, and then your hose attaches, and then you have a little valve that's off and on. So just a really neat product. We've been a big fan, and like I said, this cover actually, not only does it cause the angle to make it drain out, but you can get these to match your facade, so black, stainless, and a couple other colors, maybe even the white metal now. But the big deal this year is at the Aquor booth, they have a hot and cold hydrant. Now, we've been using hot and colds on a lot of our builds, but to be honest, they just don't look that great. So we try to hide them in inconspicuous areas where you don't see them that much. But Aquor, just like they've done with the cold water one, has delivered. Let's take a look at the hot and cold one. So like I said, it's new for IBS this year. It's just been released. It's actually not on the market yet, but by the time you're watching this video, it should be available to purchase. But it's an all stainless construction hose bib, and it's a little bit bigger, obviously, than our cold version. It's about 5.5, 6 inches deep, but So in a 2x6 wall, you're gonna be fine. With a 2x4 wall though, they're coming out with a mounting block to space it out. So that way it will fit inside of a 2x4 wall. All right, so if you'll notice the back of this looks a little bit different than the other Aquor hydrants you might be used to. It is Propex ready. Now these are already 90 down, whereas the other ones you have to add an adapter if you're trying to plumb it from underneath, but it has a hot and a cold. You can see 1/2 inch going straight down your wall. And also it's all stainless, so they told me in the booth here that it's a lot better insulator than brass, and so that's why they can get by with it being such a frost-proof hydrant at only 6 inches deep inside the wall cavity. But what's different about this one than other hot and colds that I already love is that you can set the temperature to one spot and you don't have to adjust it every single time you hook it up. And the same adapter that you're using for your cold water goes right inside it and hooks up. So then if you have other Aquors around your house, it's the same attachment, but now you have hot and cold water. And we love it because our clients can wash their cars, their kids, their pets in the fall, winter months, and even pressure wash their pool deck. That's another big point of having hot water outside. So really big sale for your clients. This is an awesome product, and I am very excited, just like everybody else, to finally get our hands on it. So the other thing is they've got a cool attachment. So outdoor showers are a big thing that we get asked for constantly. And to be honest, they're very difficult to plumb without causing some type of freezing issue because you have all these pipes configured on the outside of your house. But this is going to be a solution to that. So it's the same quarter turn attachment. So it's going to pop in, and then it's just a normal shower wand. So we're going to mount this on the wall just like a shower head. You'll have a little hook. You can mount it up. And then this is your flow control, and instantly you have an outdoor hot and cold shower. So awesome accessory to add to the hot and cold new hydrant from Aquor. So the last thing I want to point out about this hot and cold spigot is that it's very serviceable. So there's just 4 screws that hold this hydrant onto the wall, and 4 screws, the whole thing will slide out. So if you ever have to service it with O-rings or anything else inside that valve, you can access it from the outside very easily. But guys, just remember, iron sharpens iron, so keep grinding, keep watching these videos, and we'll see you again right here next week.
All right, I'm here with the most famous plumber in America, Eric Hane. What's up, dude?
Hey, man.
Eric, let me ask you some questions about tankless. We're at the Rinnai booth, and everyone knows that Rinnai has pumps inside their units today. What's your experience with pumps and tankless water heaters?
So we're talking about hot water recirculation. So
That's
they
right.
put a pump in there so we can keep the hot line to the fixtures warm or hot at all times.
Yep.
You know, which is really cool. So if you ever talk to a homeowner that lives in a house, or you or yourself, if you've ever had experienced a hot water recirculation, just turn the faucet on and it's hot within just a few seconds.
It's amazing.
It is. So Rinnai does it with the pump, like you're saying.
Yep.
They do it with this condensing model, and then another new model I think we're gonna take a look at it in a second.
Yeah.
But they use this device right here. It's a crossover valve.
So how does that work, and where does that go?
So there's a little thermostatic disc in here that allows the pump and the water, this being connected to the water lines like under a sink, far away from the water heater, it allows the pump to actually push hot water, or water from the hot line, into the cold side, like immediately at that fixture.
Nice.
It's actually really cool. So a couple other manufacturers have done this for a while. It's proven, it's really neat technology. Yeah, sure, your cold line right there might be a little warm periodically.
Yep.
But it saves so much energy because this unit, the tankless, down in your mechanical room or in your attic, wherever you live in the country, allows you to have hot water instantly, and it saves like loads of water and gas.
I mean, at my old house, I had a Rinnai on the far side of the house, and
Yep.
when I moved in, you know, my wife said something to me like, I thought we put an instant water heater in.
Instant.
And she was thinking like, you know, she grew up with one of those ones at the kitchen faucet that you'd make hot tea out of,
Yeah,
right? That
yeah.
was instant. And this does instantaneously make hot water, but it's the
Right.
delivery system of my old remodel on my 70s house that wasn't up to snuff.
Perfect example. So faucet being far away from the water heater, you've got that pipe that's filled with water
Yep.
that may have been hot a few minutes ago, a few hours ago,
Yeah.
but it cools down.
Yes.
And so now you have to clear that water out.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how you heat the water,
Yeah.
but with a system like this, like what Rinnai is doing, it really just, it just saves tons of energy and it's so convenient.
Yeah,
Like honestly,
sure.
when you're cold and you're trying to wake up at the beginning of the day and you want to just take a shower and you want it to be warm.
You don't
right
want to wait
now.
2 minutes for that hot water to get
Yeah, and
hot.
all that. Think of all that water that's just going down the drain.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Now, what's cool about Rinnai this year at 2023 is they've got a brand new model. Let's walk down here,
All right.
Eric. This is their RE series, and you and I both have made some videos on this model. What's new and different about this model? And my understanding is this is the first one on the market in North America that has this.
Yeah, so I didn't even know about it until we got to the show, so they've kept it a secret as far as I knew. But this is a non-condensing tankless. So this is a more traditional gas water heater replacement.
Yep.
Where you might be able to use an existing flue exit out the side of the building, something like that, but where you're not going to be creating the condensation to go down a drain. This would work great in an attic space, like in the southern climates especially.
sure.
Very common installations there.
Yep.
But now, for the first time, like you said, you could do recirc, just like the condensing, higher.
Just like that top of the line model.
Yeah, just like the previous model, but you can do it now with the non-condensing, which
Huge.
as far as I know, it doesn't even exist anywhere.
I don't think anybody's got one on the market. A couple other cool things. Number one, made in America now too. They've got a new facility that Eric and I have visited down in Georgia. So we got American workers making these units for the first time, I think, from any tankless manufacturer. But the deal for me as a builder or modeler, when I do a remodel and when you come in and do, let's say, a tank replacement and put one of these in, I don't need to wire throughout the house like I've done in the past. On remodel projects, if I had let's say a taco pump with some kind of demand system, I'd have to run a low volt wire to all the bathrooms so that it could operate the pump back in the mechanical room. And then you'd have to figure out, do I want a doorbell? Do I want a motion sensor? It's kind of it is a hassle.
Yeah, now you can do programming with these. They've got app-based controls coming onto the market that will connect to these units, and you can program it so it's just recircing while you're home.
Yeah.
Right? Like most people might be gone for a certain extended period during the day. We don't need to recirc.
That's right. It'll be off during that time.
Yeah, or when everybody's in bed sleeping. No need to recirc at that time either.
I watched the video on the Rinnai website, and if I understand it correctly, it learns your schedule the first 7 days and goes, oh, everybody seems to be taking a shower around this period of time, so I'm going to turn the circ system on in anticipation of that. And then it learns your schedule so that now during the day while you're at work, there's no circulation going on. But hey, I usually bathe the kids between 7 and 8. Boom, that circ pump turns on at whatever, 6:45. Kind of learns your schedule. And this year they've got a new app that you can also change that as well on these. The last thing I want to mention on these though, Eric, I like the price point of this. Some of their top of the line tankless can be around $2,000 street price, $1,800.
Yeah.
And my understanding, this is like 20%, 25% less.
It's easier to install too. There's a little less moving parts on it than the higher end model.
Yeah.
Admittedly, so it's a pretty quick in and out for a plumbing contractor, which would be able to then market at a lower price.
Yeah,
less
that's nice.
Less labor, less
A couple
parts.
$100 less.
Yeah, it all helps. It all helps for sure.
RE series from Rinnai. Go check out Eric's videos on BuildShowNetwork.com because he and I both did an interesting series that we called the 8 Tankless Lies. We did a different take on a pretty similar subject, but man, I am so thankful to have Eric shooting videos over on BuildShowNetwork.com, publishing every week. And also, of course, we all know that he's actually Eric, but everyone seems to know him at the show as, oh my gosh, there's Mechanical Hub. So when you go find him on TikTok and Instagram, look up Mechanical, is it Dash Hub?
I think it's just Mechanical Hub.
Mechanical Hub, okay, just all one word, all one big word. Thanks for coming,
man.
Eric.
I appreciate it.
All right, guys, let's see what else we can find at IBS 2023.
No one's grumbling because they're not, making money for that 30 minutes that we're talking.
Hey, Steve Basic Architect. We're out here at the International Builders Show 23. Now, we're stopped at this Longboard Architectural Products. It's actually an aluminum siding. Don't be fooled by the wood look. That wood look is pretty darn attractive, but we're very fortunate. We have the ability to catch up with Mike. Mike is not only the head tech guy here, but he's actually the owner. So let's jump over there and we'll have a chat with Mike and look at this product in depth. All right, so we came around a corner here. We got Mike, like I said, head tech guy, but he's not only the head tech guy, he's actually the owner too. So
Caught me.
kudos to you, Mike. Glad for catching up. Now, before we show you the really cool stuff, let's just run through some of the metrics here, Mike. We have, the panels are formed, and I see you have basically two profiles here where we have a center support and then some without a center support. But also notice here where we have this lap joint. So water management is always key on any
Correct.
cladding system. So getting that proper lap joint always is a concern. But Mike, you were talking about the amount of different surface colors that we can get, surface grains. So talk to us a little bit about, like, for wood grains, for example.
Well, we have about 30 different wood grains that we stock that are ready to ship to clients all over. And then beyond that, we have some stock solid colors and the ability to do custom color to anybody's desire.
So any solid surface color, basically, if I come to you with a paint swatch, you can make
I
siding
can
match
match
my
that.
color.
Correct.
That is absolutely crazy. What about sizes? What are we talking in sizes of panels?
So these are 4-inch profiles that you're holding. Our most common is the 6-inch that's on the wall behind us, and that's in our cladding product line. We also have other products for doing pergolas and trellises and stuff like that. Also some interior ceiling systems and that type of thing.
Yeah, I noticed in your literature over there that, we look at it here and say, wow, that's a really nice cladding system, but it doesn't stop at cladding. This can be a soffit to a portico or a large roof overhang or a pavilion of some type.
That's correct.
But you can also move inside and use this as panel finishes. And we can get it as this, we can get it as panels. And then lastly, when we were talking earlier, you had mentioned not only can we use it on the ceiling, but you can offer this as a perforated panel.
That's correct. By perforating it, we can, and attaching an acoustical back fabric to it, we can drive a really strong NRC rating and take a lot of the sound balance out of an interior space. So,
Okay. Yeah, so not only do you get the beautiful finish, you get the acoustical performance
correct.
of having that inside the building, which is absolutely crazy. But I was reading through your literature earlier. I got to tell you, I am actually dumbfounded by one of the lines in there. You're telling me that if I place an order in 3 to 6 business days, my order is sitting on a loading dock, getting ready to get shipped to me, right?
That is correct.
That is just absolutely crazy. And the sizes on this, we talked a little bit about the widths, but in there it's also, I can get this in 12 and 24 foot lengths.
That's correct. And a 24-foot length just allows for better utilization and fewer joints, better overall yield of the product on the site. So that's important.
Yeah. And as incredible all of these metrics are, we didn't even get to the cool stuff yet, because you're about to show us what the cool stuff is. So why don't you pull that open?
The cool stuff is behind the wall, Steve.
Yeah, it always is. People get all excited about the finishes,
Yeah.
but the real magic happens of, how do I put this on a wall?
Exactly. And most importantly, in this day and age, we're all working to try and drive down the operational carbon consumption that happens in the built environment. And one of the very best ways to do that is to ensure that the building is properly insulated. The best way to properly insulate is to do continuous external insulation on a building.
Yeah, and being a passive house architect, I mean, this comes right to right front and center here, that this is actually a certified component.
It is. It's a certified advanced component, which is actually the highest performance level that you can get out of passive house, and so we are able to deliver maximum value in terms of achieving the thermal performance, as well as be able to hold very heavy cladding weights on that wall. Our particular system is not very heavy, only about 1.5 pounds per square foot. But when we designed the system, we designed it so that anybody's cladding system could go on this attachment system.
Right. Now, I got to tell you, I was up in Vancouver about 8 months ago, and I saw the other system, the EOT system.
Okay.
All right. And I thought that was really cool. But when you open this up, I was like, man, these guys have this system down. So Why don't you walk us through a couple of these components here and what we're actually looking at?
So the primary base of the system starts with the clip, and once the vapor and moisture barrier, or vapor and air barrier is on the wall, the installer would put the clips on the wall, would remove the black cap, and that would now ready the wall for insulation. If you're using rock wool insulation, you would simply put a piercing tool over top of the steel tube, and you push the rock wool right over the piercing tool, drive the plug in the center into the tube, and then take the piercing tool off.
So there's no cutting little squares
There's
out
no
or nothing.
cutting.
We just do a little punching action, and it goes right through that.
Exactly.
And sits nice and neat
Yeah.
on there.
And then we've insulated the inside of the tube as well as got a tight fit around the outside. In most clip systems that operate in the market today, when the installer pushes the insulation up against it, you're left with a little air gap around the base of that L-clip.
Right. And this is all thermally broken. I mean, the minute I install these caps on here, I have that thermal break,
Yes.
which obviously Passive House and anybody designing with a building science concern is looking for.
That's correct.
And I know here you have it in the vertical orientation, but I talked about, I would imagine this is universal enough where I could change it from a vertical orientation that finishes with a horizontal finish. But if I had a vertical finish, we can easily switch this to a horizontal orientation.
That's
right?
exactly right, Steve. All you have to do, the clip gets applied exactly the same way, and you simply take the cap and turn it 90 degrees, and now it can receive the girt going the other way. Another critical component is that the fasteners are always going through from steel to steel, so we never ever miss an actual physical connection through the plastic. The plastic is acting as the insulator, but we always have a mechanical connection back to substructure.
And you can see that this rail system or strut system here that you have, it's perforated. So even if I install it on the horizontal orientation, I still get good water management practice
Yes, you
through
do.
that system. And this is kind of beefy.
It's very beefy. We're talking a 16 gauge girt, which allows you to do a full 32-inch span from clip to clip,
Right.
which means half the number of clips are going on the wall that you would quite often put on a wall.
Right. So you put the clip on. The clip is obviously dependent on the insulation level of choice.
That's right.
But the beauty of systems like this that I really like is that because the rail system is independent, that you can install the insulation and then you can plumb this up and level it out and just put it in so it's absolutely perfect. And you have some micro adjusting
Yes.
properties to these clips that allow me to get that perfectly straight wall.
Yes, and that's actually a really important part because no wall is ever perfectly plumb.
Right.
And if you're doing a really nice high-end cladding system, any imperfection is going to mirror through. So by being able to adjust this tube in or out a full inch, you can get that wall perfectly plumb.
We can get that kind of micro tuning. And talk a little bit about, we see two sizes here, but I don't think that's where the limit is to what we can get from you, right?
One of the beautiful aspects of this design, Steve, is that by just changing the length of this tube, we can infinitely adjust for whatever desired depth of insulation is going on the building. And so if we go up to 8 inches, we'll use the HD clip. If we're going all the way out to 16 inches, which we can do, we go to the HD Plus. And we use a slightly different aluminum base there with more structural strength for that extended leverage that happens when you're point loading 16 inches out off of structure.
Gotcha. So that eliminates basically, a lot of passive houses you see we're hanging floor joists or eye joists on the outside of the building. Here, we're just basically extending our cladding system out.
That's correct.
Over whatever insulation package of choice.
Yes.
Wow.
And from an architectural perspective, there are times where we've been involved in projects where the architect wants to step the depth of the structure. And so this system can actually be used to achieve that architectural look on the building as well.
Yeah, so if we had a section of the building that wanted to come out, this stuff could come up, turn across, be the soffit, and then come back up
Yes,
the face of the building.
exactly.
And this system is easily adapting
Yeah.
to all of those situations. That
Yeah.
is absolutely crazy. Well, Mike, any other thing you want to talk about here before we close it down?
I think we just want to make sure that we get lots and lots of it out there in the marketplace because it's going to actually help buildings perform better in the environment, and that's why we were very intentional about ensuring that the design would be suitable to anybody's cladding system. We're happy when our product fits the design intent, but if it's supposed to be somebody else's product, we just want to make sure we've provided a good back structure.
Right. And what's interesting to me is, I mean, the minute I looked at it, I was like saying, okay, as an architect, how could I use this? Well, we have a lot of projects in fire-prone areas,
Yes.
like out in Colorado, and you know the homeowners there, they really like that kind of contemporary cedar or wood look.
Yeah.
But how do I achieve that wood cedar look, but get the fire protection that I need out of the siding? Because I can't get that out of wood.
Longboard's the answer, Steve.
Longboard is the answer. I like the way you're thinking, Mike. I like it.
I mean, we are listed with the WUI for the cladding, and on the attachment system, at no point do we ever have a break in our physical connection. So we're always solid back to the structure.
Wow. All right. Well, Mike, I got to tell you, it's certainly one of the coolest things I've seen at the show this year. So, you know, I'm going to close the door on our conversation, but I'm going to leave you with, as an architect, one of the things that I absolutely love is when something looks as good as it performs. Good job.
Well, hopefully we don't let you down.
IBS 2023, we're back visiting our friends at Viewrail. Y'all know Len, the founder of Viewrail. Len, killer new display, man.
Thank you.
And what is this piece of art behind me?
This thing's getting a lot of attention, Matt. This is our cantilever system. And what we did here is we pulled off a little bit of magic, because most cantilever systems really struggle to get the integrity in the wall.
Yeah.
We were able to get our engineers to come up with an LVL and an interlocking bracketry system.
Okay.
Where we're able to bolt all these brackets together, turn the whole wall into the supporting members. So we're able to get this cantilever system, get it out to 48 inches. We even think 54-inch wide.
Oh my gosh.
It's a really huge cantilevered step.
Yeah.
And the market seems to love it.
And is the glass actually doing any, like, I don't know what the right term would be, almost like shear value, or is there adding strength by the glass on here too?
So our engineers freak out when we try to send load to glass, because it causes a lot of heartburn. Yeah. So we did all of the strength testing without the glass on.
Okay.
And so the glass is just some added benefit that we don't even have to have in our calculations.
That's crazy. Now, cantilevers and builders always cringe when we see cantilevers, just because we know clients love them, but they're a huge pain point, and I've frankly never done one before because of that. You know, it's usually some kind of jicky bracket and a local welder, and you're figuring out on site, and is it going to be shaky? I think this is going to be a game changer for builders, Len. I'm excited to see this.
I think so too. And Matt, here's the dirty secret about our cantilever. It might be our easiest system to install.
Is that right?
It is.
So talk to me about the logistics of this, because there's obviously a bunch happening pre-sheetrock, which is sometimes a little different from your main flight system. When you've got a monorail, right, you're just doing everything as normal, and then you've got an attachment at the first level on the second floor. But this is obviously a lot going on in framing.
Yeah, so during framing, going to want to get involved with us, and we're going to give you the layout of where we want LVLs going vertically. Okay. Typically, it's going to be a 2x8, sometimes a 2x6, depending on the width.
Okay.
Rare occasions, a 2x10. And so we're going to lay those LVLs in, and we're going to give you a hole pattern so that you drill them before you stand them up, so you're not in there with a right angle drill and doing a big fight with that.
Okay.
So you're going to drill that hole pattern, and then the bracketry is going to go in, and the interlocking bracketry all bolts together, and we give you a torque wrench and the torque value. You put all that in, and now what you have is your temporary stairs.
Got it.
Yeah, so you have a temporary stairs, you use those for as long as is necessary.
And are you using these treads for the temporary treads?
No way.
Okay, you're going to
use
a
chance.
Some 2x something
So
on the
there's
job site.
Yeah, there's steel inside of here.
Okay.
And
so we can just use the steel.
Yeah, you're just going to use the steel that goes back into the wall.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I want to see one of these go in, Len. We got to do a video.
Let's
on
find
this
a project.
someday. That'd be really fun.
Yeah.
You got something else behind me that's pretty cool too. Let's walk around the corner, guys. I've never seen you guys do a spiral, and certainly not a super cool spiral with lights. What are we looking at, Len?
So we had a lot of fun. Put the challenge in front of the team of we really need to do spiral. And this is what they came up with. A scimitar blade inspired tread. It's called a compression spiral.
And that's actually a wood tread too?
That is a wood tread with a really dark, rich finish on it.
I thought it was steel when I first saw it from a distance.
Yeah, and walking up it, it's really solid and really beautiful
It's stiff?
look. Yeah, it is.
And man, those lights, even with a curve on there too.
That was fun.
That's pretty sick.
That's a nice touch, isn't
I like
it?
that. And the rod too looks really nice.
Yeah.
It bent really well on there.
So we have this in an exterior version too, Matt.
I was just going to ask that. Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you do for an outside version than an inside version? What changes?
We're obviously not going to put wood here. We're going to do it out of aluminum. We're going to be all welded, so it's going to come out to your job site complete.
Okay.
Powder coated, and then we can incorporate our thermally modified wood for the treads, our porcelain system for the treads, or if you have a stone that you're trying to match, we can have a pan where it matches the stone. But we want to be aluminum, and we want to be all powder coated. We want to be a welded system, so it's really rigid.
So you could even, I assume, do that in a coastal situation, probably, right? If it's aluminum.
We will.
We're not worried about salt at that point.
Yeah, that's
if
the
it's
focus.
aluminum.
I'm a big guy, so I want a spacious spiral that I feel comfortable, that I'm not intimidated and feel like I have to crouch down. So that's what we tried to create with this.
Love it. Hey, before we wrap, there's one other staircase. We'll meet you on the other side. All right, Len, last one. This is not quite as groundbreaking maybe as a cantilever stair, but this flight duo really speaks to me. I like this. What do we got going on here?
So the vision here is to create with the Viewrail type of thinking so that things are modular, and to have a really thin 1.5 wide stringer that also incorporates the glass. And what Viewrail wants to do is find a way to make it installable and attainable, because installers are so difficult to find right now.
And you know what, glass is really a pain point for me.
It is. And so we knew we had to engineer it and then send it out of the box. So actually, each of these stringers ships separately.
Okay.
So they're flat packed, don't take up much space. Two guys can carry them in. Once they're set, then we attach the treads in between them with a bolt system on the underside, so we don't have to have welding on site.
Sweet.
It's all powder coated when it shows up. So
That's
the
awesome.
finish is done. When we walk away from the job, the stairway's done. You don't have to bring a painter in,
That's
don't have to
pretty
bring another trade. It's a newer system for us. We're around $36,000 to start.
Okay.
Probably as displayed here with lights and high-end finishes, probably in the mid-40s.
Yeah, okay, so this is not a basic staircase for a starter home, but if you're building custom houses like I am, the beauty of working with these guys is that everything you need ships out from their factory in Goshen. We're right in the heart of America. The treads are pre-finished, the powder coating is done, the glass is cut, and I don't know about this one, but some of your other Viewrail flights that I've installed, we've done them in one day.
Right.
And some of the more complicated ones, maybe 2 or 3 days. But I bet this one could be a 2-day, 3-day install.
So we have, in our certified installer network, we publish what the guidance is for how long something should take. We would give guidance that this is a 2-day, 2-person install.
Isn't that crazy? 2 days to install this. So you would basically finish the house for the most part, have all your hardwood floors in, your tile, whatever it is, and in 2 days, 2 finished carpenters from their installer network could make it look like this in your custom home. Walk away, boom, they're done. There's no finishing, there's no get the glass guy out to measure and then have him set the wrong glass twice. Not that's ever happened to me, but it's really painful. This is really cool.
Matt, can I give time for me to show you 2 features I think that are really cool on this?
Absolutely.
We are diving deeper and deeper into the continuous handrail that is coming out of the factory already welded.
I didn't even catch that. Yeah, it blends in so well.
Yeah. We control the whole space in our CAD model, so we're able to do this in the factory before it ever ships out, which
Got it.
that is really beautiful.
That's really cool.
And
I didn't even
neat
think about that. So
innovation.
you've got your glass, but this meets your grippability standards. and functions as a code-approved handrail.
Yeah.
And the glass guardrail at the same time. That's pretty sweet.
It's all there. The second thing I want to make sure we don't miss is our LED integration into this. And it is really a clean integration. It all comes pre-wired. There's a wire harness in here. So it is...
Snap it all together on each thread.
2 molded connectors,
and then there's probably some transformer that's hidden somewhere.
Yeah, we have the power supply is hidden, and you bring 120 volts to it. It's already pre-tested in the factory to make sure everything works.
That's really impressive. Last thing, Len, tell us how people can get a hold of you guys and get a quote for a staircase like this or work with y'all.
Yeah, come find us at viewrail.com. and we will be ready to serve you.
That's cool. Guys, this is a really cool family-owned company making all this right in the heart of America. I've been in the factory. It's really, really fun to visit. Viewrail.com. We'll see you later.
Hey guys, Wade Pakin with The Build Show. I'm over here at IBS 2023 at the Protective Products booth. And we use a lot of these products, right, for keeping job sites in good shape, right? You have carpenters and tradesmen that wear tool belts and the hammers are swinging, and there's all sorts of stuff that can ding, trim work and walls and exterior doors, and there's a whole list of things that can be damaged so easily. And I've learned, because I've struggled with that in my 23 years as a builder, going back and fixing things that we could have prevented. So when we found Protective Products a handful of years ago, we use a lot of their stuff. This is a regular product for us. This is their trim protection tape. Where I use this mostly is in two places. On our exterior clad doors, this, I should start to say that this tape really only works on aluminum and metal surfaces. So when you have like an aluminum threshold, as we have here, this sticks really well to it. So you want to put this tape on during construction so all the traffic that steps on this isn't damaging the threshold. And I will put this tape right on the face of the door, on the cladding on both sides, to protect it from those little dings and the little scratches. So this is a great product. If you follow me over here, we've got a couple others that we use. This is called a Pro Vent Cover. So this thing is pretty slick. It's got some filtering material here on the back of it, and this can sit right over your ducts. Your floor vents are on the floor. Couple screws. They have corners and middle, so you can fasten this right down. We use them to keep the vents clean. We don't really use them as much as running the HVAC while the job site's under construction. It's something we don't like to do. But in certain renovation type applications, or even in new home construction, since we own these, it's very easy to just put over the vent, cover it so nothing gets in there. But in those few circumstances where we do have a system running, this is great because it allows the air to flow out of the vent. Or even if it's a return vent, the air can be pulled down through. So this is a super cool product. And there's a new one here that I'm not familiar with that we I bought some here today at the show, and that's their Flex Corner. Now I use protection like these from Longboard, not to anything against Protective Products here, but I haven't seen this Flex Corner before. This is basically a compressed, dense cardboard type material that flexes from a pretty acute angle and can open all the way up. So you can see a couple applications here where that's used. Corners of walls here. You could put this on your corner of a cabinet, let's say. So there's a handful of applications to use for this. They send you a roll of tape with it that's, I would say, probably feeling the tackiness on it like a low adhesion type tape, so it's not going to damage your walls. I would never put this on a painted surface, just as my personal preference, but if we had a freshly plastered wall in a house and we wanted to protect that corner from getting chipped or dinged, certainly this tape is not going to cause any damage. So check them out, Protective Products. I'm sure they have an Instagram. I know they have a website, but they've got some great products, these and others that we use quite frequently. The most used product I think that I use from them is their Eco Runner, which is a floor protection that goes down over carpet, hardwood flooring. It's got a low tack to it, so it does stick a little bit, but it pulls up with ease. So a great line of products from Protective Products. Check them out. I'll see you guys soon right here on The Build Show.
What's up, guys? I'm Matt Reisinger.
And I'm Will King.
And the build show today is visiting KBiz. We're at the Sugatsune booth, man. They got some cool hardware. By the way, they're celebrating their 40th year of selling hardware in America. Now, Will, let's show these guys some cool stuff at the booth, shall we?
Cool, let's do it. Let's start with the Lynx 800, shall we?
Okay, so this is a lateral opening door system. Check out the smooth action on that hardware. I could see this in a master closet. I could see this in a kind of a hidden pantry.
Yep.
Very cool. It could be full overlay, or it could be...
Or inset.
Or an inset as well, that's right. And what's
up-
the door size this goes to?
Up to 88 pounds. That's a pretty heavy door slab.
That's a pretty heavy door slab.
Lots of options there.
Plus
Nice little
soft close.
going right there.
They got their soft close down. Okay, you may not know this, but they also sell some touch latches now. This is a fairly new product in the product catalog. I don't think it's new this year, but I'll use these on my build for a bunch of hidden doors. And of course, Will, I don't know if you've seen it, but man, this is the hinge that put me on the YouTube map. This is the HES 3D E190. Hopefully I got my specs right. This hinge I've used a ton over the years for hidden doors. Here's the white version of it. They've got it in black and several finishes, but check this out, Will.
And don't they come out really easy too? Oh,
Yeah,
there
it
you
comes
go.
off. You know, a lot of the barrel style hidden hinges, you can't take them off, so it's a
Right.
bear for the finish carpenters.
Yep.
And also it's a bear on those hinges to adjust. But right here, the finish carpenter's got just a set screw, kind of up, down,
Right.
in, out, get those reveals tight.
Just nice, yeah.
And you've got a bunch of finish carpenters on staff doing your carpentry work.
we
I expect
do.
they'd like that.
I think so, especially this option here too, which is really nice to see. No
Yes.
routing on the frame side, so that's also a good addition to the line.
Yeah, so this is brand new this year, and I actually forgot the model now. We gotta look. This is the HES 2S 140. So this one now, instead of, Will, like the other ones where you'd have to route out on the jam side, this one we can just face screw.
Yep.
Also a little lower price point, so that's gonna be a big winner, I suspect, for Sugatsune this
Can't
year.
forget this one either. This is a big one.
Yeah, so that's the E190, or maybe, pardon me, the W190, I believe
Right.
is the correct model name on that.
The reveal's crazy tight too.
Yeah, and then when it throws the door open, this one actually throws it a little wider. So if you had a thicker cladding on the outside of the door for that hidden door,
Yep.
super
Nice.
cool.
Yep.
Okay, next up on the line, let's show them the bigger Lynx. Do you remember the model number on this one?
I do not.
This is the Lynx 1000, I believe. So this goes up to a 200-pound door, if I've got my specs right. So you can do a pretty big door with that. That could make a really neat hidden door, or just a fun door with some interesting action. Now, Sugatsune's partnered with the guys at HD Pocket Doors. We got Mike with us over here. What's
Yeah.
up, Mike?
Pocket door guy here.
All right,
showing
Mike.
you so we've got our HD pocket doors frame, and we've got the Sugatsune synchronized soft close, soft open. So you've got the synchronized with the soft close.
Dude, that looks like
open.
magic. Open one side
Yeah.
and they both
And then the
slide
soft
open.
Open.
It's like the whole show, pocket doors have just been
Yeah.
getting better and better and better.
I know.
So we-
It's a
so
whole
we-
different deal.
We
There's
take
more good
their
options.
heavy-duty tracking hardware
Yep.
with the synchronized system in there, and then we mount it on our LVL header assembly, and then we've got our breakdown tubular steel posts that we can use for a 2x4 wall or 2x6 wall, depending on the door thickness.
Yep.
And then we can break it down and ship it nationwide.
That's
That way
really cool.
that way they can get the whole kit installed in the pocket, ready to go.
I've installed this synchronous Sugatsune hardware before on a job several years ago, and years later, still working perfectly.
Yeah.
It's one of the things I love about Sugatsune. Guys, thanks for joining us at KBiz 2023 from the Sugatsune booth.